If you're looking for a fun, cute, breezy, basic with just the right amount of details summer top, then I might have found the perfect one. In today's video, I'm going to do a full pattern review of the new Mindelo top pattern by Itch to Stitch. Hi, if you're new here, my name is Izzy and welcome to Dizzy Quilts and Sews. On this channel, I talk about sewing garments mostly, but I also do touch on quilting and bag making. I love to share pattern reviews, tips and tricks, styling tricks, all of that fun stuff. All right, so let's get into our Mindelo top by Itch to Stitch pattern review. First, let's go over the pattern. The Mindelo top, and I'm going to read from notes, so don't mind me if I'm looking down. It's from Itch to Stitch, as I said, and Kenneth, who's the designer behind the brand, is probably one of my favorite designers. She's got amazing basic patterns, always with a twist, always with interesting details. Her drafting is impeccable, and she's got a very, very good size range. This pattern goes from a size 00 to a size 40, and she's got bust cup sizes A to double D. So nice, inclusive size range, which I absolutely love. I really do love the fact that she's got bust cups in her woven designs because her double D cup fits me perfectly. All right, the style of this top, so there are 4 different sleeves or sleeve styles. You can do a sleeveless top, so completely sleeveless. You can add a ruffle to the sleeve cap or to the armhole. You can do a double ruffle, or you can do like what I did and add a flutter sleeve, which is super cute. Love me a flutter sleeve. It's got a little bit of gathering at the sleeve head, you can see. It's got a V-neck with buttons all the way down the front. It's got a straight hem, and there's some gentle shaping at the waist, bringing you in just a touch without being clingy, without being a fitted top. This is a pretty relaxed fit top. All right, one thing I should mention, because of this V-neck, I actually did not do any buttonholes because I can very easily slip this over my head. So although I did do all the buttons, they're all there, there are no buttonholes here. This was sewn right through all of the layers, and I love that. Because as much as I love the look of a button band and buttons all the way down, yeah, if I don't have to do buttonholes, I'd rather not, especially on a rayon where you run the risk of, you know, little runs appearing on your fabric and stuff. So I'm very happy with this finish. Talking about rayons, let's talk about the fabrics and notions you are going to need to make this blouse. So I use a rayon. It's a red polka dot rayon I got from Beyond the Pink Door a while ago now, like a few months ago. Honestly, this fabric, because of how drapey it is and flowy and airy, is perfect for this blouse. You do want something with drape, especially if you're going to do the flutter sleeves, because these, anyways, would not have the same effect in the fabric that was a little more structured or a little stiffer. You end up with sleeves that are way, like, stand away from your body. Same logic with the ruffles. The only style that I would use, like maybe a cotton lawn with or something a little more structured, is the sleeveless view with no ruffle, no flutter sleeves. If you're going to use any of that, use a lightweight fabric, especially if you're going to do the double ruffle, because you've got 2 layers of the ruffle, you've got the bodice, and then you've got your bias to finish your arm side. That's a lot of thicknesses, and if your fabric is too bulky, it might not look very, very good, and it might be difficult to finish all that stuff neatly. So keep that in mind. You'll also need some lightweight interfacing for your facings, the front and the back. and 6 half-inch buttons. And I say 6, it'll depend on where you prefer your buttons to be and how much of a gap you like between each button. So 6 is a guideline. I've used 6 on mine. You know, you could use 7, you could use 5, up to you. And then you'll need some bias tape. You can either use self-made bias tape or store-bought. Keep in mind that if you buy the store-bought heavier type of bias, it may not look the best on really lightweight, flowy fabric. So try and match the bias tape weight to the weight of your fabric. All right. And then for your fabric, you're going to need anywhere between 1.5 to 2.5 yards of fabric, depending on the size you're making and whether or not you're adding these flutter sleeves. So that's what you'll need to get your beautiful, beautiful blouse made. Let's talk about the construction process and basically how this blouse came together. I ran into just one small little issue, and it could have been my fault. So I typically have no issues whatsoever sewing up itch to stitch patterns. Her drafting is beautiful. The notches all match. Everything just works. But then when I went to pin my facing to the bodice, my facing was too long, and by a lot. So I'm thinking it was probably my cutting. I did not go back to my pattern pieces and double check that either I'd cut the proper size of the paper pattern, or, you know, obviously I wouldn't be able to tell if I made a mistake cutting the actual fabric, but that has never ever happened to me with an itch to stitch pattern before. So I'm kind of leaning towards this was user error and not pattern designer error. But yeah, so I ran into a bit of an issue there. I just cut off the extra fabric I had, no big deal. But I did run into an issue finishing or sewing the facing down, in that I had extra volume right at the point here. Again, this could be because it stretched out a bit. This part here is cut on the bias, and the interfacing is, I don't usually interface right after I cut my fabric. I probably should do that, but I don't. So I must have manipulated the bias, the facing a little too much, and it grew before I had a chance to interface it. So yeah, not that it shows on the outside at all, but on the inside there's a tiny little tuck in my facing so that it could fit together with the bodice. Besides that, everything is great. Her instructions are amazing. They're not super wordy, so she doesn't give you a ton of extra information, but she does tell you when it's time to stay stitch, when it's time to interface, when it's time to understitch, to all of that good stuff, when to finish your seams, what direction to press your seams in. So everything is really explained, and I've learned through the years making itch to stitch patterns that there is usually a reason why she says to do what she says to do. So for example, she says to finish your side seams before sewing them together so that you can press them open. Now, I usually finish them together and press them to the back, and I wondered why she was having us do that. And for the flutter sleeve version, it probably doesn't matter, but if you're doing the double frill plus the binding, even a little extra bulk in your side seam might cause issues. So she has you finish them separately and then pressed open to distribute the bulk of your side seam. So every little detail is thoughtful, and yeah, there's a purpose to the instructions that she puts in there. Love that. The buttons, so I made the buttons, so for me, even that was part of the whole construction process. They are resin. I used some red coloring. Hopefully this is gonna, they're hard to see because they match the fabric so well, But yeah, I made these myself at the island. A couple of you have asked for a tutorial on how I make my buttons. I will get to it, I promise. It's just been a little hectic recently, and I basically made these really quickly on a Sunday before leaving the island. So yeah, but I promise I will at some point film. Not that this would be a tutorial because I'm definitely still learning, but a, you know, make buttons with me type of videos, and I'll just go through the steps that I am learning to go through to make these buttons. All right, let's talk about fit and adjustments. So I made a size 18 double D graded to a 20 at the waist and hips, which is the size I always make in itch to stitch patterns. And I'm very happy with the fit I have at the shoulders. There is a little extra fabric over here and even like at the bust. This might be due to the fact that because of all of my gallbladder issues and the fact that I really can't eat a lot of food, I've just been losing weight. So it's now starting to show because I haven't taken new measurements and I'm just going by the sizes I've always made. So yeah, I'm gonna have to retake my measurements and potentially adjust the pattern sizes I'm picking. But you know, fingers crossed, I'm gonna have my surgery soon and then I won't be so restricted in terms of what I'm eating. But yeah, so this is probably why I have a little extra ease throughout in this blouse. But other than that, the fit is spot on. The bust darts fit me exactly where they're supposed to. I looked at the finished garment measurements to decide whether or not I needed to remove length from this top. I did remember to take 1 inch at the waist notch out because I have to do that for itch to stitch patterns. She drafts for a 5'5" body, I think. I'm 5'3", and usually I need to take out 1 inch or thereabouts at the waist. And the finished garment measurement put this blouse at 24 inches, oh no, 25¼ inch length in the back. I removed 1 inch, so that gave me length of 24¼ 24 is usually the sweet spot for me, but this top is too long. And you'll be able to see in the pictures, if it's not tucked in, I find it's just too long on me. So I'm gonna adjust the pattern and remove another maybe 1.5 inches from this blouse so that I can wear it out once in a while. This I find just hits me in a very awkward spot to be worn outside of my pants. Yeah, check the garment measurements in terms of ease, in terms of length. I mean, there's not a whole lot of shaping, but there is some shaping at the waist. So you want to make sure that that shaping hits you exactly where you want it to hit you. And also because it's a pretty harsh horizontal hem at the bottom, you want it to hit you, you know, probably not at your widest part. So just have a look at the finished garment measurements, maybe even measure the pattern pieces like the back to see where things are going to hit you. So that's usually the only adjustment I have to make to itch to stitch patterns for them to fit me really, really well. All right, next, let's talk about style and wearability and how this is going to fit into my wardrobe. So style-wise, this blouse is right up my alley. It is polished. It's understated in terms of there are no extra frills. This fabric is pretty classic in terms of a red polka dot, but it is fun because it is red and there are tiny details like the little bit of gathering at the sleeves that I think are just, yeah, more fun than your basic blouse. I can see myself, if it were shorter, I can definitely see myself wearing this to go to the office, with more fitted like ponte pants or on a weekend with jeans. But because I find it's just a touch too long, I'm gonna want to tuck this one in. So I'm gonna probably wear it with pants like my gray linen lane pants. I've got some beautiful black work trousers that are wide leg that I can tuck this into. I'm wearing it today with my navy cocoa wide leg pants by Pattern Emporium. I do like the colors together. I do prefer the look when the blouse is tucked into the pants, definitely. So yeah, I can definitely see myself styling this by tucking it into trousers, or like looser flowy trousers, or my wide leg work trousers, that kind of thing. It would probably look amazing tucked into my white jeans, which are now officially too big on me. Like, yeah, really too big. So yeah, I can't wear those anymore. Or, I mean, they're in a mending pile. I'm hoping that I can just bring them in a little bit at the waist and maybe a little bit at the side seam, but yeah. So lots of versatility. There are lots of things I can wear this with. I can see myself wearing it to go to a casual lunch with the girls, but also, like I said, go to the office. The beauty of this blouse is that because it's a red fabric, because it's a thin fabric, it'll easily transition into the fall, where I can wear this with a black jacket or a black cardigan, a white cardigan, so I can layer easily on top of this and extend basically how long I'm going to be able to wear this blouse. Don't know that I would wear it like in the dead of winter when it's -30 outside, but definitely into the fall and then back again in the spring and summer next year. I really, really love this. This is, like I said, it's right up my alley in terms of a style of garment. So there you have it. If you are looking for a simple but elevated or beyond basic type of a woven blouse, highly, highly recommend this top. It's a fun construction, it's a versatile design, and yeah, you can have a lot of fun with this in terms of fabrics, prints, all of that good stuff. Yeah, highly, highly recommend this pattern. Now, before I let you go, I would love to know, I know the pattern is fairly new, but have you purchased it? Have you made it? And I would love to know what your experience with this pattern was. So please leave that in the comments below. Thank you so much, as always, for stopping by and watching the video. If you liked it, please give it a thumbs up on your way out. And consider subscribing to the channel if you're into this kind of content. Thanks again, and I will see you soon.